There comes a moment in every human life when silence becomes unbearable, not the silence around us, but the silence within us. The silence of potential, neglected, of dreams, delayed, of truth, buried beneath excuses. You feel it not as noise, but as ache. That ache is the call to rise, the call to remember, the call to become. And to become, you must begin to act. Not when it's perfect, not when you're ready, not when you feel qualified, but now. Act as if you are already there, because you don't become great by earning it. You become great by embodying it. First in belief, then in discipline, and finally in manifestation. Every level of your life is a mirror. It reflects back, not what you wish for, but what you assume to be true about yourself. You want wealth? Start walking like you're worthy of it. You want power? Speak like someone who has something to say. You want love? Live like someone who already knows how to give it without fear. Because the world does not give to the desperate, it gives to the decided. The man who moves like he's destined cannot be ignored. The woman who acts like she belongs will always find her way into the room. This is not about arrogance. This is about alignment. Acting not with ego, but with identity. Your new life will cost you your old one, and that begins with behavior. You cannot think one way and act another and expect peace. You cannot dream of transformation while defending the habits of survival. If you want to change your life, stop negotiating with your fear and start obeying your future. Walk like it, think like it, speak like it, move like it. Because every time you act like the future is already yours, you drag it closer to you. You bend reality in your direction, not with magic, but with certainty. And certainty is earned not through information, but through execution. Act as if you are already there. Because action is not just movement, it's permission. Every step you take tells the universe, I'm ready. Every disciplined choice becomes a declaration. I belong here. And suddenly, what felt far isn't far. What seemed impossible starts to shift. Because the moment you stop waiting for external confirmation and start creating internal conviction, the entire game changes. You stop reacting and start directing. You stop wondering and start commanding. That's when life starts to respect you. You don't fake it till you make it. You behave it until you become it. Because faking is pretending, but acting in alignment is becoming. This isn't about appearance, it's about embodiment. You must wear the character before the world ever gives you the role. The actor who becomes the role doesn't wait for the director's cue. He lives the part. He breathes it. He is it long before the camera rolls. So who are you becoming? Not what are you chasing? Not what are you dreaming? Who are you deciding to be? Because the most powerful decision in your life will not be the day you find your purpose, your career, your partner, or your audience. The most powerful decision is the moment you start living like the person your destiny demands. Not when you feel like it, not when they believe in you, but when you refuse to delay one more day, pretending you're not ready. Because ready is a lie. No one is ready. No one ever was. The difference between the world changers and the world watchers is simple. One moved anyway. Act as if you are already there. Because when you act like you are already there, your life starts rejecting everything that doesn't match that identity. You stop tolerating cheap conversation. You stop accepting half-built habits. You stop surrounding yourself with people who make you forget your power. You don't fit into old rooms anymore, not because you think you're better, but because you've outgrown the story they keep trying to put you back into. You start building everything, your morning, your words, your thoughts, your energy, as if it matters. Because it does. There is no detail too small, there is no habit too minor. Everything you do is a rehearsal for who you are becoming. Everything. And if you think greatness starts at the top, you haven't understood the math of transformation. Greatness begins in the minutia, the invisible moments, the unsexy choices, the mornings you don't feel it, but do it anyway. Because your future self is not created in peak moments, it's built in the quiet consistency when no one's watching, and you show up anyway. And that's what acting as if truly means. It means you no longer need proof. You are the proof. You don't beg the world to notice you. You walk like someone who cannot be ignored. And it's not confidence. It's not ego. It's alignment. It's identity in motion. It's integrity in full expression. You are no longer waiting for the permission to be great. You're now living as if it's already done. Act as if you are already there. Because pretending is temporary, but embodying is eternal. The body remembers what the mind rehearses. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between reality and repeated belief. Every time you move with intention, your brain rewires, your chemistry shifts, and your future self starts coming online. That's not fiction. That's physics. That's biology. That's transformation. Do you want to change your life? Then change your identity, not by waiting for success to validate you, but by walking like success already trusts you. Like discipline is your default setting. Like excellence is your love language. Like sacrifice is sacred, not burdensome. Like mastery is the minimum. Like faith is a strategy, not a wish. People say, when I get there, I'll act differently. No, when you act differently, you get there. You build the result by becoming the reason. You attract the outcome by embodying the energy. You don't wait to be chosen. You choose yourself over and over until there's nothing left but truth and momentum. The version of you that reaches your dreams does not live in the future. It lives in your next decision, the next word you speak, the next task you complete, the next time you ignore the impulse to retreat and instead advance. You don't need to know how it all ends. You just need to act like someone who refuses to go back. That's the separation. That's where most people fail. They dip their toe in the water of change, but they don't stay. They want results without repetition. They want victory without the valley. But the one who acts as if has already accepted that the price is part of the process. He welcomes it. She leans into it. Because once you live like the outcome is already yours, the pain becomes part of the proof. Do the reps like a master. Speak the truth like a leader. Show up like a giant even when your voice shakes. Especially when your voice shakes. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the alignment of action in the face of it. You are not acting to impress. You are acting to align. Align with your future. Align with your potential. Align with the version of you that no longer negotiates with mediocrity. Every time you act from identity, not emotion, not fear, not convenience, but identity, you lay another brick in the foundation of greatness. And this identity is not fiction. It is the most real part of you. The problem is, you've been living beneath it, operating from limitation, dressing up insecurity in the name of realism. But now that mask is cracked, and what's rising through the fracture is power. Power that was always there, buried, under the fear of being misunderstood, under the weight of who you used to be, under the stories that no longer belong to you. But today, right now, you stop telling those stories. You stop borrowing beliefs from people who never built anything. You stop speaking the language of limitation because your future cannot understand it. Your next level only responds to fluency in ownership. Ownership of your time, your craft, your energy, your thoughts, your boundaries, your identity. When you act as if you are already there, you stop asking, am I ready? And you start declaring, I'm responsible. Not responsible in fear, responsible in power, in stewardship, in dignity. Because people who are building something worth becoming do not wait to be chosen. They assign themselves the role. They accept the weight. And they rise to meet it. You act like you're already there, not to skip the process, but to honor it. You don't fake the fruit. You plant the tree. You tend the soil. You protect the root. You show up before it looks successful. Because deep down you know anyone can act aligned when the stage is lit. But the ones who make it, the ones who own it, are the ones who walk like kings and queens in the dark, when no one believes yet, when the results are still invisible, when you're still questioned, still underestimated, still doubted even by the one in the mirror, and you move anyway. That is power. That is presence. That is how legacy is born. So from now on, you don't perform. You present. You present the version of yourself that's not waiting on results to feel real. You present the version that lives in truth before the world gives you its confirmation. Because confirmation is for the followers. You're a builder. When you act as if you are already there, you stop reacting to life and start leading it. You don't ask what the day brings, you tell the day who you are, and your actions become prophecy. Your habits become declarations. Your discipline becomes devotion. Because you no longer treat your potential like a guest, you treat it like a resident. You move like someone whose future is not a question mark, but a contract. Signed not in ink, but in effort, in sacrifice, in focus. And this contract, it's not with the world. It's not even with results. It's with yourself. With the deepest part of you that knows what you're capable of and is done pretending otherwise. The part of you that's sick of shrinking, tired of stalling, fed up with fitting in rooms that were never built for someone with your capacity. So you rise. You rise before the results show up. You rise before the applause. You rise before the bank balance. You rise before the dream is popular. Because your power is not dependent on outcomes. Your power produces them. You are no longer waiting for external permission to believe. You are becoming the kind of person who makes belief unnecessary because everything in your life proves it. And yes, you will be misunderstood. You will be mocked. They will call it ego, call it delusion, call it arrogance. But you know the truth. You're not acting out of pride. You're acting out of alignment, out of deep, sacred responsibility to the calling on your life. Because you were not born for comfort. You were born for consequence. You were born to create ripple effects, to break patterns, to build what has never been seen before and become someone the world has never met before. And how do you do that? Not by waiting, not by wishing, but by walking one aligned action at a time until reality has no choice but to bow to your standards. You will not go back. You cannot unsee what you now know. You are not chasing a future. You are becoming it. From now on, every room you enter must adjust to your presence. Not because you speak louder, but because you walk straighter. Because your posture is no longer built on insecurity, but on intention. Your identity is no longer leased from the opinions of others. It is owned, anchored, forged in the fires of daily, unshakable discipline. When you act as if you are already there, it changes how you speak. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't building what you're building. You stop apologizing for being intense, focused, committed. The future you are carrying cannot be birthed through casual effort. Casual effort is for people with casual dreams. Yours is not casual. Yours is generational. So your words get sharper. Your tone gets cleaner. Your boundaries get stronger. Not because you're cold, but because you're clear. You don't have time for emotional turbulence. You don't have bandwidth for watered-down conversations. You don't debate your future with people who gave up on theirs. Why? Because you are already operating as if it's real. The money may not be in the account yet. The stage may not be built yet. The audience may not know your name yet. But none of that changes how you carry yourself. Because kings don't wait for crowns to act like royalty. Queens don't wait for applause to command presence. They walk like they're called. Because they are. And you are. So walk like it, dress like it, speak like it, think like it, wake up like it, work like it, eat like it, read like it, train like it, rest like it, love like it. Protect your peace like it. Protect your mind like it. Build your life like it. Because this isn't pretending. It's preparing. You are not faking it. You are practicing being it until your body, your brain, your world starts reflecting the truth you've already chosen. And one day they'll say, you came out of nowhere. They'll ask how you did it. They'll wonder how you grew so quickly. And you'll smile because you'll know you didn't rise overnight. You just started acting like it was already yours. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove it. You don't need validation, verification, or approval. That season is over. You don't need to wait for the world to crown you. You already know who you are. And when you act as if you were already there, you take your place, not by demand, but by presence. You don't ask to be invited. You walk in like the table was waiting for you. Because it was. The vision you carry didn't choose you by accident. It found you because you're the one willing to do what most people won't. It found you because you're the one willing to stay when it gets boring. Willing to stand when it gets lonely. Willing to speak when it's unpopular. Willing to lead when it's heavy. You don't want it easy. You want it earned. Because you know that the real reward isn't what you get. It's who you become. The money is nice. The impact is real. But what truly matters is that you'll look back and realize you didn't fold. You didn't fake. You didn't settle. You became, and becoming requires sacrifice. You will outgrow people. You will be misunderstood. You will lose interest in things that once entertained you. Your circle will shrink. Your appetite will change. Your energy will shift. This is the cost of alignment. And it is always worth it. Because while they're still talking about it, you're doing it. While they're still waiting, you're walking. While they're still dreaming, you're deciding. Every moment you act in alignment with your highest self, the old you dies a little more. And the version of you that was born to lead, born to elevate, born to shift generations that one begins to breathe. So breathe deeper, walk taller, speak clearer. Because you don't need to become her. You don't need to become him. You are already there. Now act like it. The world doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. And who you are is defined not by your emotions, not by your history, not by the voices that doubted you, but by your standard. And your standard is no longer negotiable. You don't get to say you want to lead and still live like a follower. You don't get to say you want peace and still entertain chaos. You don't get to say you want greatness and still hide from the mirror. That version of you, the one who waited, the one who wished, the one who hoped for a shortcut is gone, buried in yesterday, burned by the light of truth. Now you move from power. Now you move from presence. Now you walk into every room knowing, I've already paid the price. I've already decided. I've already acted. I am already there. And it shows in how you speak, in how you schedule, in how you protect your time, like royalty protects the throne. Because your future is not up for auction. It's not open to negotiation. It's claimed. Claimed by the way you rise when no one's watching. Claimed by the way you work in silence. Claimed by the way you refuse to fold under pressure. The pressure only proves that you're close. You're not behind, you're in the stretch. And the stretch is sacred. The stretch separates the talkers from the walkers. The stretch asks, do you really want this? Or did you just like the sound of it? And when you act as if you are already there, the answer is clear. Because your habits don't lie. Your calendar doesn't lie. Your self-talk doesn't lie. You no longer say, I hope it happens. You say, I'm becoming the one who makes it happen. And that's why you win. Because the goal is not to impress, it's to integrate. The goal is not to perform, it's to possess. The goal is not to chase the future. It's to become so aligned, so rooted in truth, that the future has no choice but to meet you where you stand. And where you stand is sacred ground. Because now you are already there. When you act as if you are already there, you stop running from resistance, you welcome it. Because you know that resistance is not a sign of weakness, it's a signal of arrival. Nobody resists what doesn't threaten the norm. Resistance only shows up when you start to matter, when your movement has weight, when your voice starts bending reality, when your energy begins disturbing mediocrity. And disturbance is the birthplace of elevation. You were not born to fit in. You were born to interrupt the pattern, to break cycles, to shift legacies. That's why you feel like you don't belong where you used to. That's why the conversations that used to satisfy you now taste like sand. That's why old friends feel foreign and old habits feel like betrayal. Because your identity has moved. And when your identity moves, your entire atmosphere must change to match it. You can't act as if you're already there and keep surrounding yourself with people who act as if they're still stuck. You can't think like a king and walk with clowns. You can't build a future from the basement of your former self. So rise, not just in height, in environment, in standards, in silence, because your silence now becomes sacred, not empty, but full of decisions, full of depth, full of days where no one sees the bricks you lay, but the foundation begins to roar underneath your feet. And soon, people will see the structure. They'll see the result. They'll ask how. They'll wonder when. But you won't be surprised because you were already there before it was real. You walked in it. You worked in it. You lived in it. And when the reward arrived, it wasn't a miracle. It was a match. You matched the energy, matched the responsibility, matched the vision, and the universe matched you. So let them doubt. Let them scoff. Let them misunderstand. But never let them outlast you. Because the one who acts as if they are already there is already winning. This is where you stop asking for signs. This is where you stop needing proof. This is where you stop waiting to become and start embodying what has always lived inside you. Because the man or woman who acts as if they are already there no longer dreams with hope. They dream with strategy. They move with precision. They live with clarity. And clarity is louder than ambition. It's cleaner than noise. It's stronger than fear. From this moment forward, you no longer walk like a question. You walk like an answer. You speak like it's already done. You rise before the sun. You show up when it's boring. You endure when it's lonely. You commit when it's hard. And you become what others said was impossible. Not through magic, not through luck, but through a sacred decision to walk it out. Not once, not when it's convenient, but until it's complete. The applause will come, the reward will come, the title will come, but none of those things will change you because you already became the person before the world caught up. And now you are no longer chasing the dream. You are living like it's already yours. So go, build, lead, create, dominate your lane, command your morning, protect your mind, own your energy. And every time doubt knocks, every time fear whispers, every time the old version of you tries to reclaim the mic, look it in the eye and say, "You're too late. I'm already there." Act as if, be as if, live like it's done. And one day they'll ask how you did it. And you'll smile without needing to explain. Because by then, you won't need to act anymore. You'll simply be.